We are live and you are watching At Home with Hayley. I can see there's 720 people that are coming registered and coming through. So I'm actually wearing my AirPods today. So they keep connecting to different devices. So if one of you could just let me know in the chat box that you can hear me loud and clear, and we'll get started with today's show. I'm anticipating there being lower numbers today, mainly because of the election yesterday and all the way through to this morning with the counting, and most of us, or many of us, staying up to actually witness and watch that. So you're talking to a very tired Hayley Andrews today. Now, I don't need much sleep at all. However, some is definitely required. So I reckon I'll be having an early night tonight. So thank you in the chat box. Just a reminder that all messages and any questions that you put in the chat box are private, so feel free to ask any questions that you may have. If you'd like me to answer them off air as well, that's absolutely fine. You can book a call in with me, but also feel free to pop your questions in the chat box and I will address them at the end. So now that the housekeeping is done and you can hear me loud and clear, thank God it's Friday. You are watching At Home with Hayley. This is our July edition. 75th episode, and still going strong. Thank you so much for always tuning in, all of the positive feedback, the suggestions that you bring forward for the show, and just attending every single month. That just shows me that you see value in what we deliver, and as long as that's still happening, then I'll still show up and give you my updates. We don't have a guest today. It's just me. I am actually, after this, on my way to site visits and then to speech day. So it's coming to the end of term. So all of the speech days and award ceremonies and balls and all things like that is a huge, huge lead up to the end of term for my son. So that's what I'll be doing today. So just for those that don't know who I am, I can see that there's quite a few names actually on today that I've never seen before. So hello and welcome and thank you for joining. I am, of course, Hayley Andrews. I'm the co-founder of Your Freedom Empire. I'm the CEO of several businesses. I've been in the industry since 2002. I am a portfolio landlord. I've done every strategy you can think of. Within my portfolio, and across my portfolio, residential and commercial, I have car parks, schools, bars, restaurants, entertainment quarter, offices, hotels, residential, buy-to-lets, HMOs, small and large, factories and museum and everything else in between. So I've done most strategies. I've been around for a long time. There's no questions that I can't answer. So please feel free to pop your questions in the chat box. I'm also one of the angels on the hit Sky TV show Property Elevator. Series 7's finale was on last night. It was a great show. Let me know if you have been watching that in the chat box, and please give us your feedback. It was a new concept on the show this year, and we're really looking forward to getting back into the studio to film Series 8. And also improving off that as well. So it's getting better and better each year. So really excited about that. Had a call with the guys yesterday, follow-up meeting next week, and looking forward to putting some dates in the diary for Series 8. So again, as well, if you do have deals, of course, Property Elevator is a TV show where budding property developers and investors can pitch their deals to a panel of angels for investment within their project or their business. So if you do have a project that's looming, keep us in mind, and applications will open through the website. That's propertyelevator.tv, and you will be able to apply through there. Just to kind of confirm, they are not open at present. We will make a public announcement when it is, and the deadlines and things like that for you to apply. That's enough about me. I'm actually going to jump into today's update. I'm kind of staying away from politics. I think I'm all politicked out. Is that a word? After the lead up we've had, the election, of course, results this morning. I'm of the opinion, I'm on the fence. I'm kind of like, absolutely gutted that, of course, Labour are in power. However, on the fence on whether I sell my entire residential portfolio or just start singing the Disney movie song from Frozen, Let It All Go. Probably not best for me to talk about politics today. Let's suck in and see. It is what it is, and time will tell, I guess. Can't dwell on the past. Let's very much look forward to the future and adapt and change with that as and if we need to. So I'm going to jump off camera. I can see a few people putting comments in the chat box, which are quite funny. I'm not going to read them out. I am going to jump off camera now and get on with my market update. So I've kind of put the focus around what's going on within the housing market, of course, some experts' advice, different topics, things like that around energy, etc. And a general kind of overview. This is going to be a short update, and then I do have quite a few dates from events that I am actually attending or speaking at, events for you to actually get involved with. And also answering your questions. So as we go through this, please feel free to pop your questions in the chat box. I can see people are still coming through. These are all recorded and they will go out on our YouTube channel, which is Your Freedom Empire. So jumping into our market update. So Rightmove reports that half of UK homes have poor EPC rating. Isn't that a shock? So at least 18 million homes in the UK have energy performance certificates, that's EPC ratings of D or below, according to Rightmove. This pushes up gas and electricity bills for homeowners and renters and potentially puts off buyers as well. Rightmove's energy bill tracker analysed the EPC ratings of all three bedroom houses for sale on the portal in May. That's this year. They combined this data with the latest government postcode level energy statistics and factored in the latest energy price caps as well. The findings revealed that 18 million homes have a rating of EPC D or below. This includes homes that have never had an EPC done because they haven't been sold or rented out, or it was before EPCs were introduced. This means more than half, or 55% of all UK homes or housing stock has poor energy efficiency rating. Again, no shock there. The analysis of the government data shows that the average energy bill for a three-bedroom house with the EPC rating of F is £4,331 per year, in contrast to the same size house with an EPC rating of C, averages out at around £1,600 per year. So that's a significant difference of just under, well, £2,762 if we're going down to the T. And so for homeowners with the lowest rating of G, the annual energy costs would exceed around £5,000 on average, according to the research. So Rightmove is urging the Labour, don't forget I wrote this yesterday evening, so we didn't know Labour were in power then, but I can correct that now and say that we are talking about Labour and Labour are now in power. So Rightmove is urging Labour to prioritise making green homes incentives available for as many homes as possible. And it is definitely needed. So Tim Bannister's Rightmove property expert said, while it's a start to see some green support proposed from the party's manifesto, there's a big job to be done to address the wide-scale issues that at least 18 million UK homes need to be improved. Many homeowners and landlords need urgent access to schemes that enable them to make these improvements, which could help with huge saving on energy bills. Each home requires different improvements, and the upfront costs are a huge barrier for change. Without more help, many homeowners and tenants will continue to live in high carbon emitting homes with energy costs soaring. So just to give you an idea and to put things into perspective on EPCs and how that affects bills, the average annual bill to EPC ratings are as follows. Don't forget, this is just an average. So if you have an EPC rating of A, the average energy bill would be around the £508. B would be 1,039, C would be 1,669, D would be 2,340, E 3,292, F 4,331, and G a whopping 5,674. So as you can see, the EPC ratings have been important for a very long time, but actually do make a huge difference in your end of year profit and loss, especially for those types of strategies where you are including all bills such as houses and multiple occupation. So moving on then from energy, EPC ratings and pricing around that. So gesundering is on the rise in the buyer's market. So there's a warning out there for all of you that are selling. And perhaps some tips around this as well. If you know what gesundering means, pop in the chat box, let me know so I can see that you all understand what it is. I will explain it as we go through as well. So more than 3/4 of homes buying or buyers are gesundering on the or price chipping at properties they're looking to buy. So leading property lawyers have warned that more than 3/4 of home buyers are engaging in gesundering or price chipping, reducing the agreed sale price of properties at the very last minute. Several law firms reported a significant increase in gesundering over the past year, with over 75% of buyers attempting this tactic. 2 years ago, the figures were closer to 50%. So if you're selling a property, be prepared for the buyer to ask for a price reduction even after the price has been agreed upon, especially once they've had more time to inspect the property. It's not really uncommon to lose around 5% of the agreed sale price or selling price prior to completion. So perhaps don't be surprised if when you agree on a deal, it may not be the final deal. To protect yourself, consider, for those that are selling, to protect yourself, consider inserting protections in writing to try and prevent last minute changes, such as holding deposits with the solicitors, binding agreement clauses, final offer clause, etc. There's a few that you can do, but ultimately the buyers can walk away and you also don't have to sell up to the point of exchanging contracts. Only then are you legally bound to purchase and sell. So price chipping has been rare in the past few years due to strong markets and lack of supply, where sellers had the upper hand really. If someone tried to pull a last minute chip, the seller would simply just walk away and sell to someone else for a better offer. However, the landscape has changed now and it's more of a balanced market. So now about 75% of transactions involve some form of price chipping. Price chipping has been a tactic for years and it is used by professionals when there's intense competition in high demand areas. Many of you that are regulars have heard me talk about price chipping many times. And of course, as I said, it is something that professionals use. But we would usually use it in intense competition and as I said, high demand areas where buyers often overbid to secure a deal, and only then to chip away at the price later. There's no foolproof way to avoid price chipping until contracts are exchanged. The agreed price can change, making the period before exchange particularly crucial for the sellers. So while it may not be considered as ethical, and actually lots of people have said that's not very ethical, this doesn't apply to Scotland. There's no gesundering in Scotland. It's all done through the solicitors and not something that you can do. But gesundering isn't illegal and has become a common strategy for buyers to reduce the price for many years. However, if you're selling and someone uses this tactic on you, the buyer may not really realize that if they drop the purchase price, they must obtain a new mortgage offer for the revised price. This can, of course, cause delays, and you can use that as a bargaining tool as a massive disadvantage to draw to their attention. As I said, most people are not aware of that. So when you educate them, they'll often change their mind. Zoopla then, moving on from gesundering, let me know if you have had any, you are selling and you've had people that have chipped away at the price prior to exchange of contracts, and or if you are buying and if this is a tactic you have used. Remember, all messages are private. I'm not going to read them out unless you give me the permission to do so. It's really just for my kind of view to see how you're thinking and what people do out there. As I said, price chipping is a tactic that I've used for many years in high demand areas, and it isn't uncommon for 5% to kind of be dropped prior to the exchange of contracts. So Zoopla then, moving on to Zoopla, they have published some key points, and I'll highlight a few of them here. So house price inflation is flat at 0% in May 24, but UK house prices are on track to be 1.5%. That's 3,900, higher by the end of 2024. UK prices are currently 8% overvalued, according to Zoopla, but will be fairly valued by the end of the year due to rising incomes. House prices rising across all areas of the over the last 3 months to May. However, an annual basis house price growth remains negative across southern England, but rising everywhere else. So home buyers and sellers largely undeterred by the election campaign, which I guess is good to hear. Demand 6% and sales agreed 8% are both higher than this time last year. Again, good news. 75% of the 1.1 million sales projected for this year are either complete or in the sales pipeline. Interest rates are, according to this, hold the key. So looking ahead, the near-term outlook for the sales market will depend on the outlook for mortgage rates, which are a function of the outlook for interest rates. Based on city forecasts for base rates, mortgage rates are expected to remain in the 4 to the 4.5% range, which is sufficient support to support sales volumes and low single-digit levels of house price growth. House prices in the south of England are expected to continue to underperform the UK average as they realign with income, as income growth is the key to supporting sales and demand into 2025. Price falls are currently greatest in Eastern region, so minus 1.4%, and Southeast minus 1%, with Kent topping, and it's Canterbury topping the list with biggest price falls at minus 4.1%. Prices are rising up to 3.3% in Northern Ireland and 1.5% in the Northwest region, with Sunderland experience a plus 5.2% price increase. So some contradictory information out there. Always look at your own market. As I always say to you, there are micro markets. You can't go off national averages, and you really do need to have a look at what's happening and the performance within your local area of investment. So I'm going to give you a few more stats here from different information sources. So Saville reported this week that residential sales now exceeded 90% of pre-pandemic levels. They said residential sales have returned to over 90% of their pre-pandemic average, according to Saville's. The latest HMRC data showed a 70% annual rise in residential sales for May, up 2% monthly to 91,290. Non-seasonal adjustment transactions were up 24% annually and 18% higher than April at 91,660. Savills also noted that May's completed transactions were 17% higher than last year, making the fifth consecutive monthly increase and bringing transactions back to over 90% of their pre-pandemic average for the first time since March 2023. However, recent indicators suggest some caution from buyers and sellers ahead of the election. So, as I said, contradictory. Knight Frank described the market's return to normality as slow, with sales 8% below the 5-year average in May. They expect a more significant seasonal uplift in autumn and predict a 3% rise in UK prices for 2023. That's an annual rise. Property Mark, highlighted the positive growth trend since the start of the year. They anticipate a cut in base rates from the Bank of England, which should help stabilise the progress of the housing market further. So all contradictory information, as I said. Always have a look at what's going on in your area. The great thing with the UK is we have great data and it's available to you. It's in the public domain. You can go and watch markets, visitor statistics, population, employment, crime, absolutely everything is out there. So there is no excuse. You can determine what's going to be happening in an area, if an area is working, what the growth within that particular area is for what type of properties, who the occupiers are, and make a prediction based off the past. Look at past turbulent times such as 2007, 2008, and have a look at how markets actually recovered, the pace of recovery. You can do that very, very easily, and there's enough data out there for you to look back so that you can project forward. Never do your figures based off capital appreciation or capital gains. It is very much something that we look at, but I personally do not include it as part of my number crunching. It is a forecast, and it is, of course, a guess. So we can only look forward by assessing what has happened in the past and hopefully make a prediction and put caution steps in place to make sure that we are not caught out, and make sure that we are behaving as professionals. As I always say, property is a long-term game. It's not a sprint, it's very much a marathon, and the real wealth in property is holding property long-term, in my opinion. I'm not sure whether that opinion has changed or how it might change, but I guess time will tell. So just moving on to rents then, to kind of wrap up today's market update, and then we'll move on to these events that I'd like to introduce you to and let you know where I'm speaking at over the next couple of weeks and months. So the average rent price in the UK for June 2024 is 1,299. That's excluding London, of course. The UK average is now 1,102. The monthly increase in June June was the same, 0.2%, as in May, and the annual rate of growth is almost half of what it was a year ago now. Rents are still rising, but of course it is slowing down. So rental growth is slowing down. And again, these are national averages. In some areas, rents are still rising. It very much comes down to supply and demand, and the product that you put into the market as well. I would take these stats with a pinch of salt and do an assessment based off the area that you are looking to invest in. And then maybe just kind of like on the general election. So, of course, Labour are in and Conservatives are out. One of the things that I was really quite shocked about, and I'm on quite a few groups as well, so I did ask a question yesterday in regards to who people were voting for, but there's actually been a report and figures put together on this topic, and I was really quite surprised to learn the figures. So the figures show that under a third of landlords actually backed Conservatives, which I thought was quite shocking, actually. I don't really know what to say to that. And I can see that there's quite a few questions coming in from a political point of view, and Labour, what's going to happen under Labour, and what do you think we should be doing? Shall we sell all of our properties or things like that? I guess the answer is I don't know. So, at the end of the day, Labour are in. There is nothing we can do about that. Some of you actually and listening in, and quite rightly as well, everyone has their own opinions, and we're all allowed to have one, and I would never judge people for who they support or anything like that. It's very much your own choice, and you're well within your rights to have that, just as I am mine. So I guess the answer to the questions, and I'm not going to read the questions out, but some people in the chat box are actually asking me, do you think the market for selling will pick up now that the election is over, and all things like that? And are you looking to sell your portfolio now that Labour's in, or am I moving into another industry? So I'll kind of go through a few of those very briefly without really knowing the answer, I guess. So I do think that the market will slightly pick up as a result. Don't forget, we have to look at seasonal changes as well. And of course, we've got, the end of term coming up and the summer holidays and all things like that. So all of these have an impact on sales going through, and of course, viewings happening and people putting their properties to the market, etc. So I would always kind of take that with a pinch of salt as well. However, I do actually think that, personally, in my opinion, we will see an uptick now that the elections are over. I do think that a lot of people were waiting. I don't think it had a huge impact, so I don't think we're going to see a huge uptick, but I do think that we'll see an uptick in properties selling, and more people feeling comfortable, knowing what they know. We can work with what we can work with, and uncertainty, of course, causes delays and lack of confidence. And I guess the good thing about the election being over is now we know exactly what we are dealing with, and that will play out. Yes, I do think that there will be a slight uptick. I'm not expecting it to be huge numbers, and I'm not expecting it really to change the forecasts in terms of the overall price growth or average price growth this year. All transaction levels really very marginal. In terms of am I selling my portfolio, you'll be the first to know if I am. I will reassess my residential portfolio, and it is a question and a meeting that has to be had, and we will look at obviously our current portfolio from a residential perspective, and and assess it as and when. But if you do see a resident, I mean, last night I was kind of like, right, if Labour are in, my residential portfolio is on the market for sale. I no longer want to be a residential landlord, but that's that's tongue-in-cheek, very much joke. This is the business that I'm in. I do a lot of commercial now, and maybe focus moving forward will be commercial to sell rather than hold, and focus on more of my commercial businesses and asset management, and and that's I've been focusing a lot on that over the last 5 years anyway. The majority of the projects that I have done are offices to hotels, commercial asset management, commercial to, bar, restaurants. I'm doing an entertainment quarter at the moment. So a lot of them are staying commercial in some element, even if there is a residential kind of arm to that. So I would say that maybe we reassess and wait a little bit on what we are investing in right now as a business, but this is only my personal opinion. I'm not suggesting that that's what everyone should do. And I will reassess my residential portfolio and have a look at, worst performing properties, etc. Tenants on our books as well will also be reviewed, and action will be taken fairly swiftly with that. So that's where I'm at the moment. But at this moment, I don't know, is the honest answer. I don't have the answer to everything, and I will take the advice of all of my advisors and and act accordingly. I'm a professional. That's what we do. We adopt and change. I think that's enough. There's loads of questions from a political point of view, so I'm not going to go through all of those. I am going to jump back on camera. There's some questions around, of course, site visits and things like that. So I've actually had a few questions that have sent through to me. So one of the questions was about the site visit that I'm doing, or site visits that I'm doing to my current projects. So just in terms of the site visits, they are they're this Monday coming, actually. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. Sorry, ignore me. They're Friday. I have so much going on at the moment. So they are next Friday, which is the 12th of July. There is a site visit at 1:00, and that is for all those that attended the Ming event in June and will be attending on Monday, where I'll be speaking and talking about my portfolio, probably answering loads of political questions as well. Not that I'm best placed to do that, but everybody always wants to kind of know what you're thinking, I guess. Maybe I'd have decided by Monday what I'm going to be doing with the portfolio. Who knows? Be at Ming to find out. But no, I will be at Ming, which is Midlands Investor Networking Group, on Monday. That is 10 till 2. I'll be talking about my portfolio for anyone that attends that event and who attended the June event as well. With Mark and Vicky, you do automatically get a pass to come to my site visit, which is at 1:00 on the 12th. And I will get out further information on Monday at the event when I'm speaking as well. Also, we're doing a second site visit, which is for my Hard Hats to Heels ladies. So all of you that booked a ticket for July's event on Friday evening, we will be doing a couple of site visits, which will be at 4:00. I want to say, so slightly earlier start. There is actually the Grand Prix on in Dudley, which was a slight oversight because I guess the date wasn't agreed when we just booked in our diary. However, so parking may be an issue. So I know that many of you normally park on my car park. If you are arriving early, you should still be able to park, and by time we finished, all of the barriers and things like that, and the roads will be open back up, so you should be able to still park there. However, if you are arriving late, you may have to park elsewhere. just because you won't be able to access the car park. So just bear that in mind, please. So yes, site visits are happening on Friday the 12th. For the Ming attendees, it is at 1 o'clock. The address where we are meeting is at my training facility, which is 201 Wolverhampton Street, and we will meet in the ballroom on the first floor. And then we will walk to the sites for you to have a look around a couple of projects that are currently ongoing. After that, at 4 o'clock, we will be doing a early start for our Hard Hats to Heels ladies that have booked on to the site visit. There are still spaces available, so if anyone wants to still book, you can. That is a female only event, and you can book that through our Hard Hats to Heels, and I'll share the QR code shortly. But yes, we will be doing that site visit at 4 o'clock, and then straight into our event thereafter. So just in terms of dates, I need you to put in your diary. So grab a pen. So we do have Ming, which is on Monday. That's this Monday, the 8th of June, July. June. Then we have obviously Hard Hats to Heels and our site visits on the 12th of July. Then I am on the property elevator panel with John Howard and Scott Marshall at TDN, which is in Birmingham, on the 30th of July. That should be interesting. And then on the 4th of September, I have the developers show in Manchester, where I will be speaking. Again, another great show. On the developer show, actually, I did a podcast that's gone out today, Property Developer Show podcast with Scott. He is awesome. It's a very good podcast, some super entertaining questions in there, but also some really good informative stuff as well. So if you would like to watch that, pop along to his YouTube channel, Property Developer Show podcast, and you'll be able to watch the video version of that on there. And of course, I might see you at the show in Manchester in September. I'm sure there's loads that I've missed out there, because that looks rather shaved in comparison to what's going on in my diary. But those are the ones that I'm going to highlight to you right now, and we'll go through some other events. So we also have the Property Investor Awards. A few of you have actually emailed admin at Your Freedom Empire to be on our table. We have booked some tables, and if you would like to join us, you can join our guest list and be part of our community, which will be celebrating, of course, all of the successes and champions and stars of our present and future. It's always a great event. It's the main event of the year. Of course, I am a judge at these events as well. I had the pleasure of handing out Young Property Investor of the Year to the wonderful Emma Fielding. I went to see her site last week, or I think it was last week or the week before, when I did a talk with Sam Cook and Blue Bricks at their networking event in Leeds. I was absolutely shocked at how much Leeds has changed. Definitely not driving around Leeds ever again. I'll catch the train, I think, next time. I'm pretty sure I won't have a driving license by the time I get all of the fines back, but we'll see. But if you would like to join that and you'd like to come and celebrate with us and sit at our table, I will be there, of course. You can pop an email to admin at Your Freedom Empire. Then, of course, we had the final or the finale of Property Elevator Series 7. It's been a great show. Really enjoyed doing the show. It was actually fantastic to film in the Dragon's Den studios. I'm not sure if that's what we'll be doing for Series 8. Our meeting is next week to kind of discuss and get some dates in for when we will start filming Series 8. But if you would like to watch the whole series, and you're a bit like me, you don't watch week by week, you just binge watch a series, and that way then you know the answers for everything, and you don't have to kind of wait each week in between. You can pop along to our YouTube channel, which is Your Freedom Empire. All of them will be on there today, and you can watch back and catch up on the show. And of course, as I said, if you are looking for funding for a deal, applications will open. Keep an eye out on our socials and we'll let you know when you can apply to be on Series 8. It'd be great to have you there. And of course, we had lots of people from my local area that actually did apply to be on the show. I'm not going to do that one because I haven't been on the show for a while. We do have our Property Success Convention as well. So if you would like to attend that, this is a one-day jam-packed full event. It is discussing and going through all different strategies with you from buy-to-lets, HMOs, legislation, licensing, planning, how to structure a deal, finance around structuring a deal, do's and don'ts around that. I see lots of people fall short there. And also, of course, assessing an area, supply, demand, how to forecast what's going on in an area, where to look for that information, profile of tenants, tenancy as well. So going through your legal responsibility as a landlord, sourcing, and everything else in between. So this is a free event. You can scan the QR code to secure your spot. It is online, and we can hopefully help you get started in your property journey. This event is most people's paid for event. So we put the information out there so you have enough information to understand the industry you are walking into. You know how to assess a deal. You're confident that this is a skill that you can hone with the help and guidance of professionals within the industry, and you understand the business that you're stepping into and the longevity, time, money required, etc., and commitment your side. We put it out there for free because ultimately, A, you can decide if it's for you. B, at least you know what you're doing and you can have a look and again decide if it's for you and it's something that you can commit your time to or want to. But C, because if we put it out there, you go out there, you make it happen, and you want to come through to a mentorship program, which is one-on-one, or a mastermind program, or any other training that we do put out there, which is paid for. You've had a taster of our information, you've had a taster of our education style, and you can have a play and have a go at it and understand if it's an industry you want to move into before you actually come and pay for any training. Now, lots of people say to me, well, why would you do that? Or why do you do that? I do that because we're very selective in who we bring through our training. And I want to bring people through that are going to be successful. I'm not in this business just to make money. Property, yes, but training, it's more your success is my success. So we interview you before you come through, which is why we make sure that we put good, solid information out there to get you started so that you know when you come to me and when we do interview you for further education through us, not only are you confident that I can deliver and your Freedom Empire can deliver, and you know the support and structure that you're going to get, but secondly, you know that this is for you as well. And we know this is for you. So that's why we put it out there. That's why we don't charge. It is, as I said, most people's paid for training. If you haven't attended this, you really should. You can scan the QR code and jump on the next one. And then again, if you want to just discuss your current situation, loads of questions about political views and all things like that, and me selling my portfolio, which isn't going to happen, guys. You know, I've been in the industry since 2002. I've got a very, very diverse portfolio across not only property, residential and commercial, but businesses and other assets as well. So this is not kind of right, sell everything and move to the Bahamas type of move. I am disappointed that Labour is in, but I will deal with that and adapt and change my business and inform you of how that's happening as we go through. But if you would like to actually discuss anything with me around education, maybe you've attended a PSC, or maybe you haven't and you're unsure if you should, or maybe you've actually done training with another training organisation, you've done a few properties or whatever, and you want to just discuss your current situation and how you can move forward, or you'd like to discuss training or mentorships with me, you can book a call through our website, which is under the Education Hub option menu, or you can scan the QR code on screen now and book a call in with me. There is actually something else. Oh, one more thing. So I have been nominated for the Midlands Investor Awards. I didn't nominate me, other people nominated me. As many of you know, we don't normally put ourselves forward for awards, etc. And this has come from external nominations and was published prior to me having a conversation with the actual awards people. However, we've been nominated and we've also been shortlisted and to the finalists as well across 4 different categories. So if you can vote for us, that would be absolutely amazing. I'm nowhere near as cool as half of the people that have been shortlisted, so I definitely need your vote. I have been nominated for Property Investor of the Year, Property Personality of the Year, so both of those are Hayley Andrews. Really appreciate your vote there. Don't want to be at the point where I'm Billy No Mates. Hopefully that won't happen. I know that many of you have said you've already voted, but also Your Freedom Empire, my training organisation, of which I am the co-founder of, has been nominated for Property Educator of the Year as well, which I'm super proud of. And our Hard Hats to Heels networking group has also been nominated for Network of the Year as well. So if you could pop along to the Midlands Investor Networking Awards and pop your vote for us, that would be absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'll see you at the event, and hopefully we'll be lifting a few trophies as well. If not, I'll just drown my sorrows in the corner and watch all of the cool people that are fantastic on Instagram and much better at capturing people's attention, I guess, than me. But hopefully old is good, and I've been in the industry a long time, and hopefully that warrants your vote. So if you do think I'm worthy, pop it a vote for me and our team. I would really appreciate that. But I'm going to say now, thank you so much. And for all of you that are actually commenting in the chat box to say you've already voted, super appreciate that. I'm going to love you and leave you for this month. We'll have a hell of a lot to talk about next month. One of the things I am actually really annoyed about is some of the offices that I rent out are actually to local Conservative MPs, and as part of their leases, if they wasn't re-elected, we have to allow them to actually come out of their contracts. So if anyone's looking for offices, I've got offices available. Please reach out and let me know. But no, I'm going to have a wonderful month regardless. And I hope that you do too. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Genuinely looking forward to next month's update. Maybe we can get some various different people in a panel perhaps for next month. But this will go on to YouTube. I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Have a wonderful Friday, an excellent month, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now.